All right, I'm gonna push it. Here we go.
Fingers.
Bring it up on Facebook on my.
Just gonna go get some water.
See how long it takes for us to show up. All right, it's showing up on Derek's deal. Yeah, turn the volume off on my phone so I can see everything. Yep, we're live. Yep, we're looking pretty clear here, guys. So, as people probably slowly join in as we kind of get going here, welcome to the Weather Happy Hour. We're going to answer some questions and everything. Just a side note, for us to be multi-streaming here across multiple platforms, there's going to be a bit of a delay. So put your questions in the comment section, and we will answer them as we see them. I'm monitoring it pretty closely. I can see it on my streaming platform. So as I see questions, I will answer them as see fit. So looks like everything is pretty clear. So here we have
to change it so that we can all see
the comments. Okay, I have 0 delay on my end, so it's looking all right. What'd you say, Frank?
I was saying, is there a way for to set it up so that we can all see the questions coming in, or is that only going to be you?
If you bring up the stream on Facebook, you'll be able to see it. So just
I have it up, and it's just the screen that we see here.
Yeah. So what it is you'll see your Heather's mom just commented. People are commenting saying, "Hello, I'm here." So it'll show up on the screen. You'll see it from basically where your chest is for ink. That's where the comments are coming in. It's actually the template for my live coverage, so it's up a little bit. So that's how that's going to work. So I think, all right, we're getting some people. People are streaming in a little bit here. So I think we're going to get started. I'm going to, hopefully everything is pretty stable. So with that, I'm actually going to start off. I'm going to go over one part of the forecast that I believe was cut off. So before we get to the actual happy hour part, this is like the daily forecast part 2, because I think Cox Communications crashed on me in the middle of the forecast at noon. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick can I go to PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. Should be showing up on here. All right, guys. So well, as we get started here, this is the look ahead forecast map. So this is the section that if you watched our video at noon, I believe it froze and shut off. That's what the team told me. Is that true, Frank and Heather? This is the first time we've been doing forecast here. I got the two other meteorologists here to tell me if I'm bull crapping you. So this is Saturday's forecast. Basically, the chance for some storms is looking pretty interesting for Illinois, up by a Chicago area. I know that's what we were talking about before. I think we could see the potential for some storms in Illinois. So basically from that Wisconsin border back towards Davenport, all the way down, possibly to about St. Louis. It looks like some storms could be forming along, weirdly, a dry line of all things on Saturday and head towards Chicago. We'll be watching this super carefully. Right now, it's just an interesting feature that even the National Weather Service has kind of been alerted to. So we'll have more updates for you guys tomorrow with that. And then in the second area, so it's all within the same area. The second area of focus is probably towards like the Memphis area. And the hail sizes right now I'm looking at, I mean, if things stay isolated, especially in Illinois, you could actually get some decently good sized hail, which is very strange, end of March. So that's what you got for your Saturday. Nothing for Sunday, looking pretty quiet for Sunday. This whole system pushes off the coast, no big deal. And then things kind of reset a little bit on Monday. We'll be watching this carefully. This could be down DFW and along the Red River, near Abilene. Again, timing's everything with this. It's about 5 days out. If it comes in a little bit slower, you got a lot more moisture return. You could actually get it up in Oklahoma a little bit more, but that's what we're looking at right now. If you saw the forecast and you're here for the happy hour, there you go. I managed to get you guys in for the very end of the forecast that I unfortunately was unable to get done when we had some issues. So I will switch to, let me just, actually, no, let's just stop the screen share. So now we got some more people in here, and I've also finished doing the sub forecast stuff. I know, I think all three of us here have done videos before. You can just kind of throw it in. And so we got Frank right to my other side of me. Got Heather down below. Say what's up, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, we're doing the social distancing stuff, and I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah. So we legitimately have drinks. So this is actually a virtual happy hour. We're not drinking too much because there is a chance for hail. It's looking actually kind of impressive for tonight. I'm not going to lie. So Steve isn't on here. Steve is the one that's on call, nor is, I believe, I don't know if Chris is too into these things, so he's not on here. And our newest hire, her name's Andrea. You'll probably see more of her once the world stops being on fire. But we'll be talking more about that. She'll probably be doing videos and stuff in the future here a little bit when the world's not on fire anymore. So she's not on here. She's still brand new. She's been training. I think she's pretty much ready to start doing hail maps, guys. So you're gonna have another person doing maps. And other than that, I think we're gonna jump into it in a second here. Whoops. Oh no.
For anybody who's joining late, if you have any particular questions for us, just comment and we'll show up and we can answer them.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Premier Claims Mike says, what's up, Frank?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Caitlin says, Trafford says, hey guys, you're cool, and I like your team of hail men and women.
And women.
Now that we're not doing handshakes,
And come on, Trafford, you know that.
Yeah.
Finger guns are coming back.
Yeah. So I think I'll just basically start off here with a couple questions that we have gotten a ton through people. If you guys ever talk, Brandon, Cody, Derek, anybody, they relay the questions back to us that we hear pretty frequently. And I think the number one thing is, how do we rank our hail maps? So I have one very basic graphic that I wanted to do more of, but I couldn't because my MacBook Pro decided to have an update for an hour and a half earlier today. But that's what we're here for. We can talk. I do have Hailtrace website up. I got a couple examples that I preloaded, and of course Heather and Frank, I believe all these maps one of us has mapped. But as you don't know,
okay,
we're kind of like, at this point, I guess now their hail team has got, our meteorologist team has gotten bigger. We're like the core three at this point. Heather started 2014, a few months after I did, and then Frank started around this time, about 3 weeks from now, in 2015. So I'm going to just share my screen again and go to desktop 2. Let's go my touchscreen desktop. And yep, that's my, I didn't even do the full PowerPoint for it, but that's okay. How do we rank our hail maps? So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. There's 3 basic things that we look into. It's the size of hail, the number of homes impacted by hail. So that's what Premier Claims Mike said, and the likelihood of damage. Now this is all pretty variable. So back in the day, back early Hailtrace, when Derek was teaching me how to do this, he had a little chart of specific house counts that for varying hail sizes, and that's how we would rank the maps. So if you had over like 5,000 baseball size hail impacts, that was a 5-star map or something like that. And as the years kind of went on, we tweaked it as we figured out, like, no, crap, you know what, this actually is kind of garbage. Like this storm had big hail or hit a ton of people, but sucked, or like this storm didn't have giant hail like the Minneapolis storm from 2017 that did like $2 billion in damage. We had that as a 4-star map initially, and then realized after the fact, damn, like this actually, this hit a ton of people and it did a ton of damage. So that's where we really started changing our rankings.
Yeah, so, basically it comes down to the impact that the storm has on the area.
Yeah. So, and now, since where's my mouse? So I got pretty simply put, just this is the Hail Trace website. I use DFW as our example because this is one of the few Metroplexes that very regularly gets all 5 levels of map. 1-star maps, you guys know those are the freebies, and you generally probably think, hey, this is probably just like quarter, $half size hail in the middle of nowhere. Actually, not necessarily. We could have a whole bunch. Whoops, dang it. We could actually have like a whole bunch of storms. So let me roll this up here. Like the one that happened the other day, we have the Carrollton something or other, the Coppell, Carrollton, Burleson map. That was a 1-star map. You had isolated 1-inch hail. I think, Heather, were you mapping that one?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that didn't really hit too many people.
You don't like it, blame me. But
so the reason for that being a 1-star map, it didn't really hit too many people. It had very limited amounts of what's considered to be severe hail by the National Weather Service. And then it also, I bring it up because it's a good example. We have on here these swaths that had gigantic hail, these mega hailers out down by Texas, Mexico border, but they didn't hit anybody. So you could have, softball size hail and have it be on 1-star map. It's just hitting nothing. Hitting the desert, hitting Cherry County, Nebraska is a very popular spot where we have mega swaths like these. So that's like your typical 1-star map. What crosses us over to a 2-star map is we use generally if the storm hits about 1,500 people, and then and of at least quarter to $half size hail, we'll make it about a 2-star map unless it's super isolated or whatnot. So it's like a pretty solid hit. It hits a town. We go, maybe we shouldn't give this away for free. Can you go and make some money off of it if you're able to go work, or if it's like in your little area? That's generally what makes it a 2-star map. Interestingly enough, that storm in the Dallas area in June last year, that's what's on the screen right here where my mouse is at, that was a 2-star hail map. It was a bigger wind map. I mean, the thing will have like 80-mile-per-hour winds or some crazy crap like that. But I mean, I think Heather, you did that one. I think Heather did a bunch of these. We had,
I did.
Had an area golf ball size hail, but it was mostly the wind. And now that we separate out the wind and everything, that's what really kind of changed it all around. So it's really just that marginally, can we give this away for free, or can you guys actually work it? And there are instances, those 1-star maps aren't all garbage. I mean, we've had one of our partners, C3 Group, they've managed to utilize the 1-star maps. They go find a couple out in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, some dairy farm that got hit, and then they'll utilize that. So the 1-star maps can be useful. It's just you gotta
valuable.
You just gotta be able to get after it. Yep. Quite a bit, and during this time of social distancing, may not be the easiest thing to do right now, but
I mean, just look at that 1-star Carrollton map. There's isolated golf balls over a section of it and $half size hail over that section. So that 1-star map's very valuable if you need a new data loss.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I know we're on a bit of a delay, but I bet. So we start promoting our maps at 3-star maps. So I pretty much talked this whole time. So I'm gonna since I got two others here, whichever one of you guys want to talk about how we determine something's a 3-star map versus a 2-star map, outside of me or Derek going, hey, make that a 3-star map.
Well, generally, if we get golf ball size hail hitting, population. We get like 2,000 houses or so hit with, or 2 to 5,000 houses or so hit with golf ball size hail. That usually bumps it up to a 3-star map, depending on whether we find out if the hail is soft or things like that. But generally, going by the numbers, that's going to be a pretty decent impact when you're looking at golf ball size hail. So what 3 stars do we have on there?
So I brought up, just because when we were talking about it in our team Zoom meeting this morning, I think Derek mentioned the April 13th one from last year in the Dallas area. So that's the one that I got highlighted with my mouse right here.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'd be willing to bet that there's a decent amount of houses in that purple swath. But why that's a 3-star map is because the largest hail in that North Split storm was pretty isolated. Somebody probably found like a few baseballs within that swath, but it was mostly, quarter to $50 in golf ball size hail that was in that one. So that's what designates that a 3-star map. Now, if it was higher volume, larger hail, that probably would have been bumped up to a 4-star map. If that red swath and purple swath had high volumes of larger hail of that size.
Yeah, doing this one that morning, like, what would I have, like a 30-second hail time?
Pretty sure that swath that there's another North Split that went over the airport there is from that same day, I think.
Yeah, it is. All these north-south ones were that one day.
Those North Splits, man, they're hailers.
Yeah. Well, let's get Heather talking here. So we talk about North Splits, and I'm sure we've mentioned it. I mentioned it in live coverage a bunch of times. The hell is that?
What is a North Split?
Yes. Yeah. It's, I guess, just in the.
Okay. Now, please.
We don't need to go
my
into the
internet is not
physics of
very
how
good,
they
as you
split.
guys may have. Yeah, I don't remember.
What?
So basically, if there can be, how am I going to explain this? I'm like starting to heat up like a thing. Anyway, so there can be one storm and then it split up into a left mover and then a right mover. And the right mover, if the environment is, I guess, correct, can die off. And then the left one will just become this monster of a producer. I'm not the best explainer in this stuff, guys, and I'm already like,
well, the interesting thing
what's
about
an example of one? Like there's, huh?
Well, I was going to say the interesting thing about the North Split specifically is they are prolific hail producers. I think there's a stat out there that I think John told me it was like 80% of North Splits end up producing some sort of severe hail or something like that. I think
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was for a research thing I had to do. And yeah, the North Split. So in a supercell splits, so sometimes conditions are just right in the atmosphere where the way that wind shear is, so the thing that makes tornadoes, instead of making it be a tornado, it almost splits the storm in half like a butter knife going through bread, or butter, I guess. And one half of it can turn into like your big time like more tornado or like what hit Dallas, in October, or the Nashville storm, those big epic storms. And then the other ones you don't talk about too much. They're the ones that move real quick, and they'll drop sometimes monster hail. And like the computer algorithms tend to do an awful job at doing it, because the storm will end up splitting itself and almost mirroring itself. So you have like the mirror image of, you have it going one way, so it's cyclonic, so counterclockwise, and then the other one, the storm will be rotating clockwise. So it still has that rotation, still has all the updrafts and everything, but it's all flipped. And they tend to move really fast and hit a lot of hail. So that April 13th day, it was all storms moving to the north quickly because the North Splits, and the algorithms were weird. And thankfully, us being meteorologists and doing what we do, we're able to, kind of look on social media, like when we see like a LSR, like a National Weather Service report coming out, baseball size hail in the colony, where I was like, what in the hell?
There you go.
And
Here we go.
you know, and then it turns out we can go look at it and be like, oh, okay, so because the storm's doing this, we can determine that.
And because
somebody asked, where's this at?
The north
This
splits
was in
are
the Dallas area.
anticyclonic, so they really are a mirror image of the storm. So if you look at that storm off to the northeast there, you see the largest hail kind of hug the southern edge of that swath. Well, with the north splits, it's the opposite because it's anticyclonic. So when they're north moving, the largest hail usually hugs the western side of the storm.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to remove the 3-star. So now it's going to be the difference between a 4-star map and a 5-star map. So I'm zooming in on our 4-star map. And this is, I think, where things get a little convoluted sometimes. Typically, I think most people know what the 5-star maps are. If you're with Hail Trace, you know that those are the times when Derek will do the video. He's wearing his green pants. It's all exciting. That's usually your storm, your epic storm, your $1 billion hailstorm, stuff like that. Like, so I brought up last year's storm that hit a year ago. Not yesterday. 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days ago. Time's an illusion, guys. Like, man, you're home all the time. I don't know what day it is. Like, doing these forecasts is the only way I know what the hell day it is. You know, having to pan this out. So yeah, your 5 stars are gonna be the big epic ones. Those are the ones I feel like most people, you get it.
That's a good question. Oh, after you talk about the difference, somebody asked how we decide which models to use when they're showing different things. But we'll talk about
nice. We're actually getting sweet. Yeah, no, we're actually getting like real legit weather questions. So, and then, so 4-star maps are like, I don't know, how would you explain a 4-star map?
I mean, there's usually big time hail that's falling, but it didn't really impact a crazy amount of people. It's still a high impact storm. So, I mean, you're looking at that. There's purple swath in a pretty high populated area, but the storm itself didn't impact a whole lot of area. So you can either do that, or you can have, golf ball 2-inch size hail that just blasts across the entire metro and you get like, 80,000 houses hit. That's yeah. So
yeah. So that one comes down to, I think more times than not, like, crossing that barrier is just damage potential. I feel like a lot of times, so some inner workings of Hail Trace, we'll be mapping something and we'll be trying to determine. Sometimes it's super easy to go, this is going to be a 5-star map. I think the one that I have is the example here from last year. Once it turned to the south towards McKinney, I was like, yeah, this is what's happening. We're about to have a big 5-star. So in terms of the 4-star ones, those are usually more borderline. And it'll be, we kind of all discuss about 9 times out of 10, Derek's ready to put his green pants on and we got to do some research to, it's trying to be like, all right, is this actually a 5-star?
Solid map and he's not wearing his green pants right now.
Okay, we got our question. How do you feel about the algorithms that predict hail size in a swath? So we got 2 questions. We got 2 pretty good questions in here. So we'll have you. I already forgot the first one, but Frank caught it. So you can just kind of start answering it, and then we can just, me and Heather can jump in.
So when it comes to I'm trying to make this full screen again. Sorry.
Oh.
When it comes to looking at models, different models have different biases. So we're pretty familiar with some of those biases. Like, sometimes GFS, will show things happening a lot faster than they do, and it tends to slow down the closer you get to it. So we'll look at that and, take that into consideration. So basically, you think about those biases for different models and try to apply that to what you're seeing when they're showing different things and kind of come to a conglomerate solution. looking at both models at the same time. I think that's one of the things. You have any input, John?
So when you guys watch the videos, I'm always showing the future radar is called the HRRR model. So that is the higher resolution rapid refresh model. That one's updated every hour. That one shows, in terms of presenting things, pretty easily. You can show like what the predicted radar is going to be. Now you're going into this expecting that's not exactly what's going to happen. So when you see like that one storm going through like Dallas or going through like where you're looking at today for like Kansas City, you take that with a grain of salt. It's you're using what the storm mode's going to be. So it doesn't look like you're going to be clusters of storms or isolated storms. That's kind of what we use that for, and show the level of instability. So how much energy you got to work with these storms. And so that's like what I'll use in the videos. Otherwise, I know, I'm sure a lot of you guys on the news heard the European model versus the American model. So I guess Frank mentioned the GFS is the American model for long range stuff. That one's got, they all have their own weird little biases. It's literally just these big supercomputers and people way smarter than us putting these things together. And there's a certain tweaks that they'll put in to have things happen. And like, for example, another one of the shorter range American models, every time there's a severe weather day, it automatically shows a squall line instead of supercells. And you have to factor that in and be like, I'm not going to use that too much. My personal favorites is probably the European model. Is very consistent. It can sometimes be too slow with large systems moving through, but it usually sniffs out major pattern changes earliest. The American model tends to be too fast with a lot of major patterns, tends to be a little overzealous with moisture sometimes. And so we kind of blend things together, like in terms of, I mean, if you're an aspiring weather person, I just would recommend not like using just ride or die. I'm not going to ride or die this thing. It's really easy to wish cast a lot of the time, especially when it's as big to happen and you're like, going to have to go storm chasing. Yeah, there's going to be tornadoes here. It's going to be awesome. But
yeah. Specifically,
that's usually when you're
looking at the future radar. One of the best things you can do is kind of set it in your current time frame and see what it was showing for that. So like when the HRRR is showing stuff, we'll take it back to 10 a.m., when we're looking at it, and see if it's matched up with what's currently happening at 10 a.m. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, so it's matched up there. So it's got a pretty good grasp of, what's going on in the atmosphere. So we might lean a little bit more towards that as opposed to the radar that something else is showing.
Yeah. What's your favorite, Heather?
I like the HRRR the best. I mean, it updates every hour, so you kind of get an idea. I mean, maybe the NAM before that, my connection is still saying it's unstable. But I mean, yeah, I like the HRRR. I think that just the best, just easily just for the fact that it updates more often. So you kind of get an idea like, okay, even like with mode, yeah, I'm not the best to explain, but yeah, I mean, just updating every hour and then comparing it to what's currently going on and what was going on like earlier in the day. That kind of, I like that. So
yeah. So
simple enough, I guess.
So I guess that leads into the question that Michelle asked was, how do you feel about the algorithms that predict hail size in a swath?
I can't stand them.
No.
I think they're useful. They're definitely useful.
Can't stand them. I mean, most of the time they overdo it. Yeah, they help. I think after mapping like so many, hailstorms, you kind of get an idea of like just certain areas, like the algorithm may overdo it or underdo it most of the time, I think, in my opinion, overdoes it. But we're able to look at a few different parameters. I won't get into really a whole lot of details about them. It can get kind of confusing, but I mean, we can see just the amount of hail. If some of the hail can be a lot larger, and I mean, a marker can be like a 3-inch marker, but then we take a look at the radar, and we can also see in 3D. And that I like a lot with the radar product that we use, GR Analyst or GR2 Analyst, looking in the 3 dimensions, looking how tall the core is going up. If it's like a 3-inch marker and like the updraft isn't as high as we like to see, like for baseball size hail, it may just be a high volume of like golf balls, for example. Just every storm is different. They have a lot of things in common, but then there are also like the left movers that we've mentioned earlier, and like storms can have a really small hail marker. I've seen algorithms be like an inch, maybe even a little less, and they're dropping massive hail, and it's like, okay. So it can go both ways, but yeah, it can at least give us an idea.
Yeah, they're useful.
Yeah, I think a lot of it does come to the experience. You have to sometimes use them as a lot of times use them as a grade. So,
so like if they're
because a lot of times they do overdo the size and they can also underdo it.
Yeah. So like for example, if you have a storm that has super high precipitation in a super hot and humid area like southern Texas, you'll see a 3-inch hail marker, but it's not taking into account, the precipitable water values. So there's like really waterlogged storm. So the more rain that hailstone interacts with as it's falling to the ground, the easier it's going to be to melt, especially in a super hot, humid environment. So it may be picking it up at 3 inches, 20,000 feet in the air. But by the time that gets to the ground, it's only ping pong ball size, So there's things like that the algorithm doesn't really.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like you have to.
Yeah.
That's where the 3D is. So, sorry. Yeah, this.
Yeah.
It's a lagging
So
thing. It's okay.
basics.
But like,
like
being able to look. Go ahead. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna do a basic summary because your connection's a little spotty, Heather. So.
Yeah, I know. I told you.
All right. Yeah. So basically, the big thing with algorithms is they're useful tools. I mean, Hailtrace is going in the future here, going to be putting algorithm maps with our maps to be seen, but they take the algorithms are set up in a way that they're in a perfect environment, a perfect way, and that's not how weather is. So you're going to be getting differentiation all the time, and they tend to overdo it, and sometimes in certain situations they underdo it, and that's why we are here to try to bridge that gap and make things better. Just a note, Premier Claims Mike said thanks for getting reports done lightning speed, Frank and Heather, since you guys are here, and I know we get quite a few of them. I hope we keep them coming here, man. Oh man, Michelle knows her stuff here on the weather stuff, the weather side of things. Pretty nice. Yeah, mid-level lapse rates are extremely important for hail. So I just because I see a comment from my own account, which means this is probably Allie telling me to stay on track here. The biggest question we've had recently, we started doing wind maps, and Premier Claims Mike even just mentioned how do we get wind speed maps under 58 miles an hour, and we do reports for those. So what do we map with wind? I know it can be a little confusing. I know it can cause some issues there. Basic summary. I didn't get a graphic made for this, but pretty much anything I miss, you guys can mention. It's storm based. So for us to see wind, we need to be able to see something on Doppler radar. Doppler radar, all it does is it sends out energy and hits crap. It brings it back for us to see the wind. It determines how fast that is moving. So if you're getting a windy day, like it's sunny here in Oklahoma City today, if we had a big 60-mile-per-hour wind gust just now, there's no way of us actually being able to map that because we're unable to see anything. So storm-based wind is any thunderstorms that have strong winds with them. Obviously, tornadoes. The Dallas and the Nashville tornado were very easy to see on radar. They were big, dangerous tornadoes, ripping through stuff, throwing a ton of crap in the air. So the stuff that we use to see hail is useful for seeing, 2x4s, because it's just determining there's a large, irregularly shaped object floating around in the sky, which is a big tornado. So we're able to map those pretty easy. Hurricanes are all precipitation storm-based, these giant events. And I mean, and then stuff like a big blizzard that might have a lot of wind in it or something that we can map, because again, there's things moving around that the radar can pick up. So when you have a very windy day, so like you have a really big event in like in the Northeast or in the Great Lakes region or whatever, where these big systems that give us thunderstorms give them a windy day and like a snowstorm and stuff. If there's nothing there, we can't really map anything. We can do individual reports. So there's like a high wind warning. You get like a bunch of non-severe thunderstorm wind gust reports. Yeah, we can get a report together, but unfortunately we aren't able to map that kind of stuff. So that's basically, I think, did I catch most of it? I mean, and we're always open to hearing what you guys want to hear from us. So like, the wind map stuff is all, we're kind of, it's new, and we're trying to get it all together, try to get it out to you guys as I guess easily digestible as possible. Obviously the rankings for that are a little more challenging because we haven't totally determined what makes a we know what makes a 5-star wind map. It's like a major hurricane or like a big time tornado, but we don't really know the intricacies between that, because wind can even get down to a micro level that gets below what a radar can read. So that's,
and hail can be kind of spotty sometimes, in a storm. So like you'll see a swath, and then some areas in that swath are going to be hit harder than other areas, even though it's all the same size. Wind is doubly so. So, if you see a wind swath, not every place in that wind swath is going to have wind damage or even have been impacted by that wind speed, because it's where it mixes down to the surface, and that can be very spotty when you're looking at windstorms. So it's a little bit of a bigger challenge so far than mapping hail, but that's why we do it, and we'll get better with time, and it's an interesting undertaking.
Yeah. And a lot of the reports that come in too, some of them can be weird. So like there's quite a few, like MPing. Anybody can put in an MPing report, and they have things that are just like predetermined text of like, oh, you have a tree limb that's like an inch thick or some crap like that. And then of course they always put stupid junk in there, like freaking shingles are blowing off. And I know that's literally an MPing report where it says 1 inch limb or shingles blown off, and that it's not both. It's literally just a predetermined text that you can't edit, and you put it in there, and a lot of those will come in. So like we won't map every single wind damage report if it's going to be under 58 miles an hour. I know Premier Claims Mike asked about why under 58. 58 is what is the National Weather Service considers severe. Since we do that with hail, we do their severe limit consistency. I'm saying that with wind, and it's challenging enough. Once you get below a certain level, it gets pretty challenging to really determine wind. And also you're going to get these mega swaths that aren't going to help anything out. So that's what we got there. So I got another question. I think this one could lead to a fun, just kind of, again, behind the scenes story times of your mom asked this, Heather, when you're on call, at what point do you say, oh crap, when you got to call the rest of the team? So those of you who don't know, we have on-call schedules. So usually one person, they got to deal with all the garbage that happens overnight. And there's one stipulation in there of if shit hits the fan, you call me and Derek to make sure, either I go live or, we alert the team like, hey, there's a big 5-star map happening, we'll let you know it's 2 a.m. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow. So we have a bunch of weird hail trace. Mother Nature. We do our best at forecasting.
That
Mother Nature likes to
story.
throw some weird curveballs. So I think Heather's got quite a few. She seems to be the queen of getting storms
Oh,
happening.
I got a few. I think the most recent was what was it? 2018. What day was the Denver one that I did by myself and didn't wake you up?
Yeah, I was in 20. That was one of the
Colorado Springs.
Okay, yeah.
Colorado
yeah,
Springs one. That first
Springs,
Colorado
yeah.
Springs one. That was like in the middle of the night.
Oh, that was like 3 a.m. Yeah.
It was taking its jolly old time. It was just taking its jolly old time, middle of the night. It was like, I think 1 a.m. or something. And I'm just like, I got this, wake up in the morning, and John and Derek and all of them were like, oh, like they were kind of like thrown off guard. So I kind of learned in the nice way to not do that anymore. That if a storm does that, if it hits a large populated area, even if it's 1 or 2 or whatever in the morning, and it's just big hail, even if you can handle it by yourself, to let the team know so that they're ready to go in the morning, that they're not thrown off guard.
Yeah, I mean, rules are put into place a lot of
I think
times because
all-time
some weird crap happens. So that was the time. Woke up at my usual
How
morning.
about Dallas?
I saw
Yeah, the
5-star map.
St. Patty's Day, Fort Worth.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was.
So occasionally, what'll happen?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So
that one happened at about 4 o'clock in the morning on St. Patrick's Day. What was that? 2016, 2017?
16, yeah, 2016.
And I remember because I was actually coming off of an on-call week, and I was having a stress dream about the long hours, and I heard in my dream we have a sound that goes off when hail reports come in, and I thought I was dreaming. When I woke up and looked at my phone, I was like, oh man, this is a crazy dream. And then I was like, man, I'm surprisingly lucid. And then another one came in, and I pinched myself and went, oh crap. Because Fort Worth was getting 2-inch hail reports.
Nope, it's very real.
Yeah, so we have a client of ours, is also a friend of ours. He likes the phone. So I was living with Frank at the time. Frank and I were roommates for a few years, and so I heard him, I would say exactly what he says, but I also know, I think Trafford might be watching this right now, so I'm going to keep the swearing to a minimum. But there was a lot of swearing, and my phone rang, and then it was our buddy Alan calling, and there was a lot more swearing because he was getting like tennis balls at his house, and I'm like. And then we had a long day. Heather was a champion, though. She had started mapping it.
Worst part.
I mean, even on the day, that Colorado Springs day, she did everything. So like the alerts you guys get, those aren't automated. We send them all. It's handwritten out by us. We go pick out the intersections, all that crap. So she did everything by herself, which props to her. She got it done, but we needed to know that it was happening. So,
but don't do that again. Please and thank you.
Let's see, any other questions?
yeah. So
you forgot to add the second storm that happened in Dallas.
Oh, was that the Carrollton day?
Oh yeah, I was on call for that one.
The still the St. Patrick's Day one.
Oh.
No, still the St. Still the St. Patrick's Day when we woke up. One already happened. And so like when we woke up, there was another one going on at the same time. So we had to map the one that was going on live. And it was a big old mess because that was not supposed to happen. It was completely like, surprise, I'm going to wake you up with storms. Your sleep has been interrupted by my presence of hail balls from hell or heck. Sorry.
Yeah. So over the years, we've gotten better at trying to get this to catch everything before it hits the fan, but weather is very good at throwing curveballs. The Carrollton storm, that a lot of our viewers have worked. I mean, that was a surprise event. Like we had, golly. I mean, it was another time, like was it 15 or 16? I think it was 2015, where we had this huge hail day in like the Great Lakes, and like I was in Chicago literally the day before. So this storm's happening in Chicago. I was in Chicago the night before, and my flight left O'Hare at like 4 o'clock or some dumb crap. And like I was with friends and we were out drinking. It was Saturday night. And, we were out. We didn't go to bed. I was like, screw it. We're going to the airport. I got a good buzz going. I'll sleep on the plane. And then, well, then I got landed in Dallas on my connector, and my phone was blowing up, and I was like, huh. I didn't think there was going to be big storms today. And then Frank also did not know that. Frank had to pick me up at the airport.
Well,
because again, we were living together at the time. And Frank had also.
And I Ubered home and left my car at the bar. So I had to Uber to my car, go drive, pick John up at the airport. And then we went back, and I had already been working for several hours. I got up at like 6 to start working when the storm started happening. And then we both worked till like 3 o'clock in the morning that night.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things. So, oh, yes, that's right, Matt. Thank you for reminding. Another very important question that people get us is how we name our maps. So if you guys notice, we typically, it kind of goes by triplets in terms of names. That's not exclusively what's impacting. So I'm going to just kind of use the 5-star map that we had last year in the Dallas area as an example of this. So we named that one Allen McKinney Frisco for good reason. The biggest hail was in Allen McKinney and Frisco. So we have to keep the names fairly concise. If we named in the title of the map every single little town that got hit, it would be like a 4-page, sometimes it'd be like a 4-page long thing, because all of our maps that overlap, different radar sites, different plans, all that stuff. So we typically go by the order of largest population and most impacted locations. So I tend to try to lean the first name to be something most attention grabbing. So it's like the most populated, what got hit the hardest. If Dallas got hit, you're going to put Dallas first, even if the biggest, so if Dallas got hit with 2-inch hail, but like, I don't know, Denton got hit with tennis balls, I'm still putting Dallas first. So it's, and then you just kind of go down the list there. So like this one, it was Allen, McKinney, Frisco. Allen had the vast majority of the biggest hail. McKinney also had big hail, and Frisco also had big hail. So you're going to put that in there, even knowing on that same day, we had stuff at the DFW airport. We had stuff north of Fort Worth, but it wasn't as big. The main focus, we tend to kind of do, especially the big maps, where you're going to want to put your focus on. What is the most interested part of that? So other areas, if it's in an area where the map kind of overlaps like a bunch of states, we try to at least get one name out of every state that gets impacted, so they're kind of aware. It's not a perfect system, I will admit that, but it is about as good as you can get to keep it within just like a text alert or a push alert.
Same thing for, the same state. So if Texas, if there's storms all over Texas and they happen in like near Midland, Dallas, and like San Antonio, we're going to name it the towns that got hit. Unless it was isolated quarter size hail in one of them, then we might leave that one out if there's a better town that got impacted. But we try to cover the broad spectrum of what's mapped while also putting forward the best areas to go to look at, really.
Yeah. So that's pretty much how we name them. I know, honestly, if you guys ever have questions, so we have a map out there, you haven't purchased it, or if it's not in your plan or whatever, you can ask us and we'll say, it's like, hey, did the map said Allen, Frisco, McKinney, but did was there hail in like Richland? I heard there was hail in, or am I making up a town name? Was there hail in like,
Maybe.
yeah, whatever it was. Was there hail near the
Jason?
airport? I mean, the airport, the international airport is nowhere near that. I mean, we can say, yeah, there was also hail there. So it's not just putting it in that. So sometimes you just kind of have to ask. So that's why. So if like you see a map come out and you know the town you work just got hit, and you get the alert saying, hey, there was hail and blah 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 blah. And you're like, oh crap, it didn't hit my town. What the hell? It sucks. This map, where's the map for this town? It's like, no, it's probably that one. So we're putting the main highlights of the biggest population in cahoots with like the biggest hail and largest interest. So there's a bit of marketing behind that, but for the most part, we just try to put out there like, hey, this was probably the best areas hit, and all the other stuff's also in there. So it's better than just saying Dallas every time, you know, or Texas.
Let's see if we have any more comments that came in.
Let's see on the Hail Trace page. Let's see a ton. Let me look on. I'm trying to look on Derek's page too.
Oh yeah.
Somebody said, "What's Colorado looking to get this year?" Probably more of the same.
Well, it depends on what part. Well, yeah, generally, even away from the Front Range, you're gonna get hail in Colorado.
Yeah, things are looking like they'll be pretty active in Colorado this year. I think I'm pretty consistent on that. Last year was pretty active. 2018 was the most active. So the pattern in place looks very favorable for a lot of hail again this year in Colorado. It just, you gotta wait a few months, you know. Hopefully by the time hail season turns on in Colorado, the world will be moving again. So
Not on fire
yeah, we had.
anymore.
So I mean, that's so thanks everybody who's been joining in. I have no idea what the amount of viewers we actually had on this because we split it up over multiple platforms. We can do more stuff like this too. I mean, we're all at home, so we can always do more chat things. If you guys got more questions, we want to get more in depth into certain stuff, or get a little more time to really kind of get after it in terms of a certain subject. I mean, we're all in here and doing that. Is everyone liking how the new forecast stuff is? I mean, I know we just need some big hail to happen next. And then...
All right.
Sure.
To anyone who's wondering, we will still be able to storm chase even amongst all this crazy COVID stuff going on. 38 was the highest.
I think Kirk asked.
That's not too bad.
That storm chasing vehicle is, and I think
oh yeah, Kirk asked, what's the best storm chasing vehicle? Just nice to talk shop aware, folks. Nice talking to you too. Shell. Get some more weather folks in here.
Yeah, best vehicle, any vehicle you're willing to get dented and broken windows and stuff.
4-wheel drive.
Our truck, the Hailstalker, obviously. Well, I mean, no, honestly, you want to have all-wheel drive. You're gonna be on dirt roads a lot. You know, SUVs or pickup trucks seem to be the common theme. You probably want better than gas mileage than crappy. You don't want to have garbage gas mileage.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, anything else, it's like if you want to punch a hail core, you gotta either be willing to take the hit or do what we do, where you do some modifications, you know, protect the windshield and the windows and whatnot.
It's tragic.
That's pretty much.
practically speaking, you'd want something with a lot of room so you can hook up the laptop and all your equipment. Not only just the room, but enough like of the plugs, so you can plug stuff in when you need to and charge things. Yeah.
Yeah. But thankfully, in this time of social distancing, not only is storm spotting considered an essential service, so that's good, but also we have the ability to socially distance while storm chasing all of the time. As long as no one in the vehicle has coronavirus, we can, the only time we have to get out of the vehicle is to get gas. And even then you don't have to go inside. So we're in the middle of nowhere. We're not interacting with anybody. So we'll be chasing as long as we can. And then, honestly, the thing that might hinder us more is the stupid truck at this point than any kind of things put into place. So,
you rather chase hail, tornadoes, or hurricanes? Ooh, man.
I don't know what's everyone's fave. I know Frank's isn't tornadoes.
I like hurricanes. Hurricanes.
No.
Yeah, there's never going on a hurricane.
Nope. I'll do hail and tornadoes all day long. I haven't been on a hurricane chase, and I don't want it. Nope. Just the thought of being stranded with water and
it's not too bad. I mean,
being stranded in lots of water, just no.
So, I mean, if I saw any good tornadoes, that might be my answer.
Frank, you don't want to chase with Frank because he scares all the tornadoes away.
Yeah, hurricanes are fun when they actually come on shore.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're different. So hail and tornadoes.
Out in the ocean for like a week.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Like difference between like hail and tornadoes, it's you have a few hour buildup of you basically going out to wherever, or less if you're chasing within Edmond like we did last year. You get into the storm, you have that like rush of like, holy crap, the hail's happening, this is awesome, or oh my god, this tornado is fantastic, and then you go home, and that's like it. A hurricane, so it's like a sprint, while a hurricane is like a marathon. So like, we live in Oklahoma, and spoiler alert, we're a landlocked state, so it takes forever to get to where hurricanes like to go. In recent years, it seems to be the damn Atlantic Ocean, so we have to drive to Florida or North Carolina or South Carolina, or even like Corpus Christi, Texas, which you think isn't that far until you're driving all night and you realize, man, it sucks. God, this is like 10 hours away. So like, so you gotta drive really long time out there. You got to figure out the logistics of like getting a hotel that's willing to actually let you stay. You got to sign a bunch of waivers saying, if you die, it's not Holiday Inn's fault. And then you got to kind of get there early enough to scout out stuff because, you have a vehicle you don't want to lose. So like you got to be like, all right, you got to factor in storm surge. Storm surge can come in, sweep away the trucks. We got to find like a parking garage. You want to be somewhere where like if the winds are super strong, like in Hurricane Michael, the where you're going to be is going to still be there at the end of it. So you got to find, usually parking garages are the way to go. And then when they hit, instead of it just being at most like an hour, it's a long duration event where you're like, man, this is awesome. And at the end of it, that adrenaline crash is rough.
Yes. It's the drive home is always
if anyone has a plane.
So Michelle asked, did you guys happen to map the Creston, Iowa storm last week?
Which one's that? Did we? Where's Creston, Iowa? I'm pretty good at knowing where places are, but not gonna lie, I'm not the greatest at knowing Iowa. I'm assuming we did. That was probably the 3-star map we did, right?
We don't have anything mapped there since June of 2019. I don't know how big the hail was.
Yeah, if the hail was under 1 inch in diameter, we don't map it. So that's usually part of it. Tom asked, how's the Chicago area looking short term and long? Short term, possibly something on Saturday. Long term, I mean, again, hey, it's still March. Like, so I think we head towards second half of April and then into May. And then June, I think Chicago area could see a decent year this year. So I know Chicago area had an all right year last year. I think we could see something similar to that or even slightly better for the 2020 hail season. Forecast for Central Kansas tonight, said Gunnar Sullivan. I think I still have. Hang on. I think I still got the forecast that I made for today up here. Just gotta share it real quick. Here, for asking about Central Kansas. This was the forecast I had earlier. So this is going to be probably likely after 11 o'clock, late night event. You're going to be seeing hail, possibly up to tennis ball size with any storms that can really get its act together. But I don't know what you mean by Central Kansas. Definitely east of Wichita, you're probably getting closer to I-70. So like up towards Emporia, Topeka, that's going to be your best bet in Kansas. And then the Kansas City suburbs that are on the Kansas side, for specifically Kansas, and then eastward. Honestly, I have my green risk level, my low risk level for St. Louis, but based on how trends have been, I think it might be similar to Kansas City. So yellow, moderate. You guys liking the color system? You guys awesome the cover. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gunnar. Thanks for watching. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the bell. I don't know what other crap is on here. TikTok us, I guess. No, don't TikTok us. I don't really know what TikTok is. So.
All I know is that when Heather's video pauses and then fast forwards, it looks like she's a TikTok video. That's about it.
Okay. Try it out. So, all right, somebody said from Fort Smith, Arkansas. What's up, Flash Knight? Okay, dang. Holy crap, we've been at this for an hour now. We didn't even like podcast. We just talking weather. So yeah, if you guys like this, again, we are all at home full time now for at least 21 days, according to the Oklahoma City. So we'll be here. We'll be again. The stream has been stable this time, so I fixed the problem from the forecast from yesterday and today. For somebody who's not I'm not a big computer guy. I've kind of improvised all of this. So the fact that I got to work, I'm super excited about it. So if we have to do any live coverage, obviously I will be on and doing live coverage, even if it's the middle of the night. Steve will call me. I got my phone set up, so my phone will ring and I'll be like, okay. But forecast video every day. So that's all we got. Anybody else want to add anything?
We'll probably do more of these. You have a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Good questions. So, and I'm not against having a drink at 4 o'clock.
And we can branch out beyond just weather stuff too. If we have other members of the team on here, if you want to throw like I don't know, like Matt or Brandon or somebody else on the team, and you want to talk about other aspects of hail tracing, we can. We have all that canvassing stuff that I think you can do social distancingly, but we're the meteorologists. We create the product. We may not, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am not super knowledgeable on probably a lot of the aspects of the app that you guys are knowledgeable on. I'm knowledgeable on the weather and so certain parts of that in there. So like, if you want to do more of these, even if it's just us kind of shooting the S, we can do that and just kind of talk. Again, a lot of you guys are home. We can put other people on the Zoom call, and we call just kind of hang out, talk about how you're handling the social distancing, working from home, being at home all the time. I mean, for us here in Oklahoma City, it's only been a couple days, but I know other parts of the country, I mean, it's been a little while now, and things are going to get weird. Let's just see where this goes. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for watching, and I think we're gonna wrap this up. So bye.